Out of the last 16 years, the Democrats have had control of the White House for 12.
Yeah.
Realize that. You got 2 terms with Obama. Now you got one with Biden. The only one that wasn't, under their control was the one that Trump had for 4 years. And by and large, don't pay attention to his tweets. Don't pay attention to what he said. Don't pay attention to the things the people he talked trash to. Just look at the economy. The economy was great. It was not great, then it was great. And the thing that irks me is now you have Kamala Harris, and she's like, I'm going to fix this, and I'm going to fix this, and I'm going to fix it. You've been in there for 4 damn years.
She's still there, and she's still there.
Yeah, still there right now. So it's ironic to me that you're up there talking about all this shit that you're going to fix, that you and your whole damn party has been in there supposedly fixing for the last 4 years. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Crime and Entertainment. It's been a minute. Please welcome back Ignacio Esteban. Ignacio, how are you?
All right, brother. Hollywood Wade, what's going on, man? Lots going on in the world, isn't it? It's a crazy times we're living in.
It is, man. I don't remember, I'll be honest, until Trump ran against Hillary back, 2 elections ago.
Yeah.
I didn't pay a lot of attention to politics. I was making pretty decent money, so I didn't really pay a lot of attention, to what was going on and all that. And I'll openly admit that. And then once he started, it drew my attention because he wasn't a politician.
No.
And that kind of drew me, and it turned into a television show, really, to be honest. And since then, I've paid a lot more attention, than I have at any race before. But I think this one right here might be probably one of the most interesting ones of all time. It's the first, I think, attempted assassination of a former president who's trying to become president again. Luckily that failed. Then you got Biden dropping out.
Dropping out or being forced out?
They say dropped out. I'm saying forced out.
He got forced out. Nancy Pelosi pretty much made it clear that he wouldn't get the support, and he's angry at her because he made some statements after the fact that they pretty much forced his hand out. But let's be clear: stumbling, bumbling Joe couldn't handle 4. He can't handle 4 more months, 4 more years.
Yeah,
and we've talked about it before. And I wrote a book, and I think I've talked about it before on your show and many other shows. Joe Biden. This I wrote 2.5 years ago, right before the midterm election, where the Republicans took the House. They swept in Florida and many other places. Joe, based on his failed policies, inflation, the border, the disaster in Afghanistan, was one and done. Worse than Carter. Dude, he's worse than LBJ. Because at least, LBJ was because of the Vietnam War, and he felt like, things weren't going right. It's time for a change. His own party said, you got to go. You're just not there mentally. Your faculties aren't there. And dude, he couldn't get off stage. It's so sad, Wade, to see the guy. He can't walk. When he's at the happiest? When he has his ice cream cone and he's licking his ice cream cone and he's there at the beach and he's zoned out. That's where he needs to be.
Yeah, it really does. And I mean, Joe was not my pick to be president, but, unfortunately we have to deal with what we have. And, I definitely don't wish bad on any president, even if it's not who, I don't agree with that should be in there. I want the world to prosper as much as it can. But I was to a point, especially after that debate, I'm like, all right, look, there's tons of videos on TikTok making fun of him. He don't know where the hell to go. He's falling down.
Yeah.
I think it's quite obvious that he was not cut out for that. And that debate just sealed it. I mean, he was talking off, rambling off. And I'll be honest with you, Trump could have probably pressed it and destroyed him more than he did in that debate. I think Trump took it light on him. I mean, he got him a few times.
He got him.
I don't know what he said. I don't think he knows what he said either.
He said either. That's awesome.
But I think that was the best call,
If Joe would have been smart, he would have waited to do the debate after he was officially the nominee for the DNC.
Yeah, Yeah, 100%. And I think that just kind of cleared everything up. And because it wasn't long after that, then you get into the announcement, either by his voluntary or people making him, he's going to be stepping down. And now you got Kamala Harris. And there's one thing that I want to throw this out there, out of the last 16 years, the Democrats have had control of the White House for 12.
Yeah.
Realize that you got 2 terms with Obama. Now you got one with Biden. The only one that wasn't, under their control was the one that Trump had for 4 years. And by and large, don't pay attention to his tweets. Don't pay attention to what he said. Don't pay attention to the things the people he talked trash to. Just look at the economy. The economy was great. It was not great, then it was great. And the thing that irks me is now you have Kamala Harris and she's like, I'm going to fix this and I'm going to fix this and I'm going to fix it. You've been in there for 4 damn years.
She's still there. And she's still there.
Yeah, still there right now. So it's like, it's ironic to me that you're up there talking about all this shit that you're going to fix, that you and your whole damn party has been in there supposedly fixing for the last 4 years.
That's what JD Vance says a lot. She says, when I'm elected on day one was 3.5 years ago.
Yeah, 3.5 years ago.
Has she even been to the border yet, being the border czar? I remember that she did an interview with Holtz on NBC, and he asked her if you've been to the border. She said, well, I haven't been to Europe either. But you're the border czar. What does that mean? I haven't been to Europe either. What the hell is that? It's like when she said about North Korea being our great. Remember, she was at the DMZ, right, between North Korea and South Korea, and she's making a speech. You can look at this up all on different platforms. And she said, North Korea is our greatest ally. And I say, no, it's South Korea. North Korea, Kim Jong-un is an enemy of America. He's Little Rocket Man. That's why Trump called him. He called him the Little Rocket Man, shooting. And he's a danger. That guy is a loose cannon. His family starves her people, destroys her people. It's awful. Hopefully one day the peninsula can be reunified. But what he's done, he's destroyed it, abused them. They're not our allies. They're not our friends. They're tight with China. They want to hurt us. If they could get a nuclear weapon, they will get a nuclear weapon. If they're getting closer and closer, these are not our friends. We need people who are competent. She is the ultimate word salad, Wade. Yeah. The ultimate word salad that goes in circles, and you don't even know what you go in there. You can have a good laugh at this. It's scary that she now. I wrote articles. I don't know if you know this. I think I sent some to you. I've done close to 80 books on Amazon, and now I've done almost 60 articles on Medium. What a great platform, folks! If you like to read and write a lot, Medium has almost over 100 million users, and you can read and write about anything, everything you want. And I have a huge following there and done really well. So you can follow me on Medium. Check me out, Medium, medium.com. And you can see my writing. If you're a writer, I encourage you to start writing too. And you can make money on it if you want. You have that option too. So there's a lot of different options in there. And I wrote about how the Democrats went from bad with Joe to worse. Joe Biden one and done with Kamala. And she doesn't want to do interviews, Wade. She doesn't want to go anywhere. And I heard, just got breaking news before we went on, that she finally did one interview with CNN, just happened, but she brought her little pet with her for emotional support.
It's just, I don't know. I mean, even going back to a show you and I done, I guess it was about a year and some change ago. I've never really mentally recovered and had a lot of, hope for Joe when he traded the basketball player for the Merchant of Death.
Oh, the Merchant of Death himself, Lord of War. I wrote about that one too again. He's become a major politician now. Remember?
And I want to make this clear. Like, do I think Brittany Griner was wrongfully held over there for what she had? Absolutely. I make no bones about that. It was whatever, a little CBD or whatever it was. It was ridiculous to be held, But the fact of the matter is she was open about the fact that she didn't like America. So why you're here, I don't really know. But I mean, she didn't really like America. And we traded the largest arms dealer in the world, the Merchant of Death.
He's a terrorist.
Why would you not even ask for anything else? Anything else possible?
And did you see the last prisoner exchange that just happened? We finally got Paul Whelan back. Remember, he's a Marine.
He was over there then too. And we asked for both. Why not go 2 for 1?
Yeah, we just got him back with a lot of them, but we gave up a lot of badasses for people who have been set up. The guy from the Wall Street Journal, who's just doing his job, was incarcerated falsely. Paul Whelan was incarcerated. There's a handful of Americans and Europeans that are falsely incarcerated. That's Putin's play, falsely arrest people to get the people we want out, which are really bad people. This is what a bad administration does. They do these kind of trades. And this was awful. You haven't seen that show, folks. Check that out. I wrote an article about it. I wrote a book about it. I wrote a lot of things way before this. And this administration has it. And I think Wade knows the people who've been listening to me I've been doing shows for 2.5 years now, Wade.
Yeah.
2.5 years. I studied this stuff. I had a background, political science and history. I started my master's in international relations. Came to the ATF. I can see the poster behind me. ATF undercover, 26 years. But within DOJ, there's also a lot of politics. And you get to see a lot of things behind the scenes. I was in headquarters at the end of my career. You see a lot more behind the scenes, what's going on. And one of the things I saw was the George Floyd riots. Remember that? Before I retired, I was out of central headquarters. I ran what was going on with a lot of the program manager stuff out there. And Tim Walz, man, was a horrible, horrible governor. A horrible governor that let Minneapolis burn, his biggest city burn. The first thing as a governor, someone who serves, is you got to protect your citizens. And National Guard should have been out there earlier. The mayor called for it. The chief of police called for it. We need people. We're getting run over. They're going to burn down. We need the National Guard. He did nothing for 2 or 3. He was like a Nero, right? A modern day Nero. They're watching Minneapolis burn down. It destroyed. They even lost a 3rd precinct. They had to give it up to the rioters. It was awful. The feds came in, stepped up. ATF, they had a lot of cases, people, because a lot of the stuff they used were incendiary devices, right? Molotov cocktails, unregistered. ATF is involved in that right there. Arsons, ATF's involved in that. And businesses right there. Illegal weapons they had. So ATF was a big part of incarcerating a lot of these rioters that were out there. But shame on Tim Walz. And allegedly his daughter on X, text out there, hey, my dad's not sending National Guard out there. Heads up. When this was happening. So unbelievable. And he wants to be number 2, a heartbeat away.
Yeah, that's rough, man. And I want to go back a little bit. We touched on it at the opener, but this attempted assassination, I think, because everything that's happened since then, Trump announced his running mate, Joe Biden falls gets replaced. Kamala Harris is up there now. I think it's almost like people have they want to stop talking about it. Ignacio, we got to figure out how this man or kid was able to bring a ladder, a depth finder, a rifle, get in position and get a shot on the president of the United States, or the soon to be hopeful former president of the United States.
Yeah, former president, soon to be president. He was less than, I think, when he got on the roof there, like less than 140 yards, right? He had, I saw the report yesterday, the weapon he had a DPMS AR-15 style collapsible stock right there. He had optics on it set up, right? And he was just like a 223 5.56 millimeter rifle. He came a whisker taking out the president. He hit him in the ear. Very, very. I mean, Secret Service reacted well when he got hit, right? They somewhat. There were a couple that people had some memes on there. Yeah. Some of the bigger agents, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
one in particular had a hard time holstering her firearm.
Yeah, she couldn't even put her gun up. There was a lot of stuff that just did not make sense about that. And I'm like you, Ben. I mean, just that look of him turning his head at the right time.
Oh man!
Had he got shot on that stage, there is not a doubt in my mind that this country right now blood would fill the streets. It would have been the start of the next civil war. You will not convince me otherwise. And I think now there's going to be a lot of security on there. I'm 99% sure we don't have to worry about this again for either party. But
never say never. Never say never.
Yeah, never say never. At least for right now. I think as years go by, things will get laxed. But
lax again. Yeah.
And that's what people wait for. You let people get comfortable, complacent, and then when they want to do that kind of thing, that's when they do it. But I just can't see you, myself, anybody. If we wanted to go to a Joe Biden rally and we walked in with a ladder and an assault rifle and a depth finder, that we're going to make our way all the way up on top of a building and get a shot off.
He got multiple shots because he killed a few people, right?
Yeah.
He killed one guy and then hit other people. He got multiple shots off, not just one. And then eventually the sniper reacted and took him out, which was good.
And see, when I done a little short on that, and that guy, it's not like he had to scan and look around and say, he already knew where that dude was at. Like, he already had him in his sights. And there's so much stuff that's come out lately about, he was spotted and Secret Service already knew about him, but yet they didn't do anything. And that makes you question, why would you let something like that continue if you know what this guy's doing, or at least have an idea? Like, why are you letting him climb on a building in the first place?
There's a rumor I heard, I'm not sure it was true or not, that he had to get permission to shoot and take him out, but he started shooting already. Someone's life is already in danger, and it's you have the use of force, and that's a decision you got to make to save your life or third party's life, and you're protecting the president. There's no reason for a guy to have a rifle climbing up a roof. They should have took him out immediately. He's on the roof. He should never got up there. I heard the police didn't even have the radios to communicate. They weren't properly briefed with Secret Service. That was a disaster with the locals out there from the municipalities.
If I go into the wrong area at a music concert that I don't have a ticket for, somebody's making my ass go back where I belong or where I'm supposed to be. This is a rally for the soon to be president, Donald Trump. I can't see how they're just letting people come in there all willy nilly with all that stuff. I just can't see it unless, you want to go conspiracy theory, unless they wanted it to happen. And I say they. Who is they? I don't know who they is, but they know who they are. And would you say, hey, he gets up there, he gets one shot off, then we take him out, and then it turns into, an Oswald situation. Oswald never got to talk about what really happened because he was taken out by Jack Ruby.
Jack Ruby took him out. I'm a patsy, he said, right? I'm a patsy.
Yeah.
But I think the magic bullet theory went away when that Secret Service agent who had retired 6 months later finally came clean, that he said he found the extra round. He knew what to do with it. He was so nervous, he just dropped it where Kennedy was laying in the hospital. So that's what kind of messed it up a little bit. It wasn't very good professionally done, I guess, crime scene. A lot of things were iffy there, but it kind of puts that to bed a little bit. But I think I'm not a big conspiracy guy. I do believe in criminal conspiracy cases, but not the other one there. But for crooks to get out there, I think I can't remember his name. He used to be on Fox. And he's a Secret Service agent, an NYPD guy. Dan something or other, Dan Bongino. Does that sound familiar to you?
No, not right off the rip.
Yeah, he's a popular show. He was a former Secret Service guy, and he says the first thing you do when you go on the stage is true, because I've done protection work also with ATF, with the UN details and others, is that you scan around and you should look at the building, and that's within like 120 yards. You should have a team out there also.
Yeah, that was like one of the first places you're going to look. One of the closest buildings there.
What the heck? That's all. At least the director of Secret Service, she was awful. She resigned disgrace. She resigned disgrace and what happened there. But so close, a whisker of almost taking him out there, changing history. That's how things go. I mean, Kennedy wasn't so lucky. He's taken out. Then comes LBJ, and you have all that. Other presidents came close. Ronald Reagan, right? Hinckley, right? He came very close. He was trying to press Jodie Foster. He has mental health issues. He has a little revolver. They keep on learning. FDR, I wrote this. I know you like the mafia stuff too, and I wrote it in my book, Miami's History with the Mafia. Giuseppe Zangara came this close to taking FDR in 1933 before he was elected already president, but he wasn't sworn in. Back then, it was in March and not in January. They would change that later with technology and easier people get closer. And this was at Miami, right? And a lot of people think Zangara was a plant by because he didn't kill FDR. He ended up killing the mayor, Cermak, right? And maybe Nitty had him sent over there to kill him because Cermak tried to kill him in a raid that had the Chicago PD open up on him. So they thought Zangara was there to kill Cermak. And history changes itself. And there's a little plaque there. I guess his famous last words were before he died. He was in FDR's arms, and they're taking him to the hospital at Jackson Memorial Hospital. I guess his last words were, "I'm glad it was me, Mr. President, and not you."
Wow. Yeah, I
History.
mean, I just
did we learn from convertibles? He was in a convertible, FDR. This close taking FDR takes out Kennedy. Open areas. Do we learn from history? I don't know.
And I personally think for the safety of everybody now, you probably need to start just having these things indoors in coliseums, no roofs or whatever. I mean,
no, you can't trust it.
Especially
the drones that come out of nowhere.
Yeah, drones with everything we got now. It's at least going to be a little harder for people to get into, a coliseum or a closed off building with bad intentions.
I went to a Trump rally in Richmond. Right, this is when Nikki Haley was still in the race.
Right,
and my daughter was a dancing part there, and I found out that Trump was coming also. So I took my other daughter, and we were waiting in line for 4 hours. 4 hours, right? The weather was already in the 40s, so it wasn't that pleasant. It's a long line wrapping around Richmond Convention Center. Nice area with the convention center, but it's indoors, which is important. Indoors.
Mm-hmm.
But you had all kinds of characters and people out there and stuff. And then my daughter said, "I'm too tired." We weren't even getting there, so they were doing Secret Service was doing a good job, there. But when you're outdoors, you're right, man. Especially how easy to get a drone with some sort of firepower or even explosive. You know how it is. You can take out the whole area very quickly. And I don't think if these guys are so slow to react with this kid, which is what he is a kid who had mental health. I guess he was bullied in high school. He had some mental health issues, may have depression, whatever happens allegedly, right? Came this close to taking out the former president. Man, you get a sophisticated organization in there, ass kickers. They're taking him out.
Yeah, 100%. And
these guys look like a bunch of clown monkeys. They look like clown monkeys in there, right?
And it's one of those things where it's like this kid was so off that you don't know that he would have been able to pull this off all by himself. But then it's like the lax security, maybe he could have. It just seems like there's a lot more to the story. Obviously, we'll never know it now. He was shot, taken out, thank God, before he killed anybody else. And I don't want to focus just on the president. Like you said, he did have some other victims there, and our hearts and thoughts and prayers go out to their families. So there was a loss of life here. I think everybody, obviously was focused on Trump and him being okay, which, he was running for president, but we did lose some lives there. And that's very unfortunate that all this, had to happen. But it just makes me wonder, man, how did he know how did he put all this together? Him doing it by himself? I don't know. It's a head scratcher, man. How do you feel?
Yeah, you go back to history. Remember I tell you history repeats itself? I'm a history guy, and I love history. I study history a lot. How did Oswald know about the parade route? Well, it was in the newspaper. The day before is in the newspaper, and I guess he finds out that Trump's going to be at this rally. So he makes his way. He's in Pennsylvania, but he doesn't live in Butler. I forgot where he lives, outside of Butler out there, and he makes his way out there, but he gets enough intelligence, and he's smart enough because he's a guy who likes to work with hands and do things and everything else to figure enough things out. But like I said, there's video out there when they say, hey, this guy has a rifle about 20 minutes before, and people are seeing on the video and they're mentioning it. First responders, local, if the Secret Service is busy right there directly, they don't have enough manpower, which is what I heard. They had to pull some manpower to help protect the First Lady. She was doing an event, I think, in Pittsburgh, and send people out there. That you need to make sure you have proper briefings, working together. Everybody has to have the same radio. You got to have more radios available so everybody can talk and communicate, because we can't do that, man. That's just a recipe for a complete disaster, which is what happened here. And I think he was the victim. There's two victims, I think 3 victims. One died. One of the victims was a first responder, firefighter. He died protecting his family.
Yeah,
perhaps them. Yeah. You go there thinking you're going to listen. Next thing you know, you're dead. That's awful. You never know. Life is fragile. You never know what could happen. Never know.
Yeah, 100%. And then after he, kind of makes his way out of this, he announces his running mate. What do you know about him, his background? I think you mentioned something about a movie that he had got on Netflix. I didn't even know about.
Yeah. I recommend people take a look at it. It's anything that I'm a big Ron Howard fan. So anything Ron Howard does, he's a great director. He wrote a New York Times bestselling book based on his family upbringing called Hillbilly Elegy. And you can watch it on Netflix right now. It was in the theaters, and but that's during COVID time. It won a lot of awards, did really well. You have Glenn Close plays his mamar, right, which is grandma, right? And it pretty much it uses the term takes a village, but his mother had a drug addiction. He grew up in Middleton, Ohio, but he has family in Appalachian, right, in the area there. So that's why the hillbilly type term came out right there. But he an environment which was dysfunctional, single mom, right, drug addicted, problems, alcoholic, a lot of abuses and problem. And he got himself, because of his grandmother, and I don't ruin the whole thing, but his whole life story, and rose him up, stood with him. You need someone strong behind you. And he ended up getting accepted to Yale, went to the Marines, and then Yale Law School, which is very impressive. And that's where he met his wife and everything else. And now he's the junior senator from Ohio.
And youngest VP ever. Did I read that right? Youngest VP ever.
He would be on the ticket. He is 40 years old. He just turned 40. So he could be, he could be the youngest on the ticket, which some people think, but he's very mature and you listen to him talk and everything else. He's been a lot. He's a veteran of the Iraq War, right? He went out there as a Marine. If they win, he'll be the first Marine that becomes vice president.
Nice.
Yeah. So that is nice to see that. So I recommend the movie. He seems like a guy who's very, very squared away. I know some people like to call him weird. You know, you hear all these comments and everything else, but the Republicans are weird. Look what the Democrats have done. Look at these people. When you have all these weird people on their side, give me a break. Talk about calling the kettle black, right?
Yeah. Were you expecting Joe to drop out, or were you thinking he was going to give this a run?
I was hoping he gives a run. Trump would have won easily.
Yeah.
I think I was hoping he stays. In me, I was like, no, don't do the debate until after you're locked in. They can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
Because and get crushed. But Harris, you know what? Let her start speaking. And this whole thing's about to come out with her having her little pet out there with her doing an interview because she has too much stress. If you're getting stressed out being interviewed by CNN, what are you going to do when you're face to face with Putin, Xi Jinping, or other brutal dictators, or the Ayatollahs? What are you even prepared to in this kind of position? The answer is no. The answer is no.
That's the one thing, man. Like, obviously, people that have followed the show and know that, you know, the story that I had that kind of got me into podcasting. I don't want to, you know, overshadow anything on the show with that, but I do have, you know, a disdain for people that charge and keep people in prison unjustly. And she did that. She kept a guy on death row and she had the evidence, let him go. She just didn't do it and kept him on death row. And there's a clip, and I'm going to insert it here to let people see it. There's a clip of her talking about the power that a pen holds when you held the role that she had, which I think was Attorney General.
AG, yeah.
So she was like, she said, with this pen, I have the power to, you know, not do the charges or charge you with a misdemeanor and you can go home and be with your family, or I can, you know, charge you with something, you know, really high up the ranking, gonna have to make you get a lawyer, going to cost you a lot of money. She's like, this pen can be really addicting with the power that it brings. And I'm like,
with a swipe of my pen, I can charge someone with a misdemeanor, the lowest level offense possible. And by virtue of that swipe of my pen, you will have to go to a courthouse and stand in line. You will have to come out of pocket and hire an attorney. You may get arrested for a few hours. You will be embarrassed in your community. You will miss time from coming onto the Google campus, all because with the swipe of my pen, I've charged you with a crime, which I may choose to dismiss 2 weeks later. It's an incredible amount of power.
You're talking about people's lives, and that's exactly what happened. You know, to me, somebody, you know, overlooked something. They jacked up charges, and that's what happened. It cost me my job. I had to, you know, spend a lot of money. And when you talk about those things like you're not really talking about people's lives, it really pisses me off. And I've got no love for Kamala Harris, none whatsoever. Like, you know, number one, she always claimed to be Indian. Now, all of a sudden, like I said, she's trying to connect herself with the black. She's going and getting all these singers to come out and sing to get votes. Look, folks, Meg the Stallion is not on any fucking playlist Kamala Harris has. Quavo's not. Kamala Harris is not. Little John and the East Side Boys are not. They're on mine. They're on Hollywood's. Maybe not Meg the Stallion, but all the other ones, they're on mine. They're not on Kamala Harris. She don't know these people from a can of paint. That's just all there is to it. I mean, and like you said, the word salad shit, talking around in circles, you can tell she's not comfortable talking about important issues. It's obvious because when you dance around, you know, questions like that. And like you said, when the shit hits the fan and a serious conversations that's got to be had, I'm worried because I feel that America will be looked at as weak. I think we're already looked at as weak, but I think we're going to be looked at as weaker. Yeah.
Well, we have, I think everybody knows the stumbling, bumbling Joe was just a puppet, and the people behind were running it. I think Blinken was a major player. So he's a square away guy, Secretary of State. He seems like he's on top of his game when he goes to Israel, when he goes to China, when he goes to Russia, wherever he goes. He seems like a guy. One good thing he did, he had at least career people who know the job, know it well, in cabinet positions, because they're the ones who are running it. He was in the Senate. He seemed like he was a lot better, but right after the election, things went downhill. And when he just looks blankly and he can't remember and he just starts babbling and you're like, what is this? How is this guy commander in chief? And I put her in the same category. And I know that's his excuse. What's her excuse? What is her excuse? She's just so awful like that. And it's just a history. And you just look at it. You folks just go in there and look at her greatest hits, either on YouTube or wherever you else want to look. Oh, yeah. And there's some doozies. She's got some doozies out there.
Wasn't the thing about it, like somebody asked her, if she smoked weed, and she laughed it off. Like, of course, yeah, I smoke weed, but then she's put countless people in jail for weed.
Yeah, coconut. She says some crazy. How about and the way she talks
tree? Oh my God, that was hilarious.
The coconut tree. You think I fell from a coconut tree? And then she's talking about and then maybe you did. I don't know. and then she talks about Ukraine like you're a little child. Ukraine is a country right next to Russia. They were invaded by a bad man, and they have a right to be. I'm like, are you serious?
Yeah, it's like you're reading a bedtime story. You're not addressing the nation. You're reading it to your 5-year-old who's looking at it on TV. It's insane.
No, it's scary. And then she picks, I think she made a mistake by not picking Shapiro from the governor of Pennsylvania, which I think is a very popular governor, and I think he would deliver to Pennsylvania for her. While Tim Walz, man, we're seeing a lot of things come out with this guy from Minnesota. Before and we even talked about his DUI that he had back in the 80s or 90s, that he lied about when he ran for Congress. And he said he was speeding. No, you were drunk. You were convicted. You endangered people's lives. You have that whole issue. Come clean with it, and don't cover up your background. That's a problem I have with Walz. That's what I have with Kamala. That's what I have with other these guys. And Joe, the same thing. He makes up the stories in his head, about Beau Biden, for example. No, Beau did not die in action in Iraq or in Afghanistan. He died from brain cancer in his house. He was at AG of Delaware. Yes, we respect his service. We thank you for his service. But, Joe, that's not what happened. Get the story straight, Joe. And if you're the president of the United States, you can't remember that straight. That's a problem. That's why a lot of people think this was Obama's third term.
Yeah.
This was Obama's third term.
There's a video that surfaced, and I'm sure you can see it, where they're on the stage, and Obama has to kind of grab his hand and lead him off the stage. And I don't doubt that 100% Obama probably had a lot of influence.
Oh, yeah.
He did. And the one thing I'll give Obama, though, is that man could talk. He could speak.
He's articulate.
He was intelligent. And at least when I heard him talk, I didn't feel like I was listening to somebody that didn't have a clue of what the hell was going on. He at least had his finger on the pulse. Did he always make the right decisions? That's up for people to debate. But he, I think, had his finger on the pulse of what was going on. He was not an idiot by no means. He was not a dummy, and he was very, very well spoken. Joe can barely get out a sentence. Kamala can barely get out a sentence without laughing and cackling.
Kamala.
Yeah, I don't know. If Kamala wins this presidential race,
oh, awful.
There will be no doubt in my mind that the fix is in, and I pray for this country for the next 4 years. It will be bad.
It shows that the Democrats only want a puppet in the White House that they can control. The DNC controls it, right? And they influence what's going on with their policies, because that's all they want is their policies, which, if you don't know, they're very pro-choice, anti-firearms, right? Yep. Gun control, which we don't want. We need to have your guns to protect yourself, and they don't understand that. They like these blue areas where crime is rampant, civilians have nothing, and they can be victimized, and that's a big problem. That's a big problem. The border wide open. Oh yeah, future voters. Yeah, let's have the border wide open and see who else we can come on in. Look at the disaster in California. I know Gavin Newsom's not happy that Harris got the nod right from the DNC. That's a beautiful state. If you've ever been in California, I've been there. I worked there for about 8 months. I was born there, but raised in South Florida. He's destroyed that state. It's a great escape. Look how many people are leaving California. Patrick, you've seen Patrick Bet David?
Yeah.
He talks about why he left California, right? And this, all the taxes, state income going higher and higher and higher. It's getting really bad.
Sly Stallone, I think, left California and come to Florida.
Yeah, beautiful home in West Palm. Look at the video. And Patrick Bet-David has a gorgeous home in their coastal in Fort Lauderdale. He put a video up on it. I think it's over 200 million. Check it out. He's done well for himself. And his family are Iranians. They came over to the United States.
Well, that's why a lot of athletes, choose to go to some of the Florida teams because they get to keep more of their money. Like, why do you think Tom Brady went to the Tampa the last couple of years and had that big contract? He got to keep a lot more of that money. And some athletes look into those kind of things. I mean, as they should.
If I was a professional athlete, well, I'm right now in Virginia, but I always look at different options. But if I was a professional athlete, I want to play in Texas. I want to play in Florida, Tennessee, right? Those are the big three that you have no state income tax.
Yeah.
So at least that helps. So yeah, the other ones too, but those are the big three that have a lot of programs that you can at least play in right there. There's some other ones, but the smaller states that don't have a lot of professional, but stuff to look into.
What do you think we're in store for here from now to November? What do you think is going to happen here between? Do you think they're ever going to debate?
They're scheduled now for early September and ABC, right? And then the whole thing about should that mics be muted or not, I think they finally agreed, which was I think was good for if you're Trump supporter, you want his mic muted because he says some things that kind of get him in trouble. So that's good. They mute his mic when she's talking. Mute the mic. And then you respond, which is good because when they didn't have, they just talked over each other. I don't know if you remember the debate with Biden.
Yeah,
that was awful. That was awful. Yeah, mute the mics, talk, and then respond. I think that's good. They had that one debate. Hopefully they have more, but I also look forward to seeing the one between Vance and Waltz. That should be another really engaging debate because both of them are veterans. They served their country. One was in the Marines. The other one was in the National Guard, right? But my problem also with Waltz is he claimed he was a combat veteran. He was not. That's false valor there, right? He didn't do it.
Stolen valor,
yeah. He was in Vicenza. He was in Italy, right? Beautiful area. I've been to Vicenza. I've been to Verona and that's a beautiful area there. That's not Afghanistan. Maybe serving up, but Vicenza is not Afghanistan. Right. It's just a trend of just lies that keep on coming out. And that's a problem because you don't want a liar in the White House.
Do you think we have any more things that really just kind of jump off the page between now and November? I keep waiting for something to be implemented. I don't know if they're going to try to do more charges or what they're going to do with Trump's charges.
Well, they did. They just re-indicted him.
Yep, I seen that. I mean, I don't think that's going to hold him off, but I mean, like, I think they sense it. I think they sense that, even with Kamala in there, I don't know if it's going to be enough. I personally don't see how this isn't a blowout win for Trump.
For Trump? Yeah. Especially now, he has RFK Jr. endorsed him. You have RFK Jr., a Kennedy, a lifelong Democrat who's seen how rigged the DNC is. They did him wrong. They did him nasty, right? And now he's endorsing down a guy. He said during the campaign he would never endorse, and he said just like J.D. Vance said in 2016, never Trump, right? But he said I was wrong about the guy. He comes and kisses the ring in Mar-a-Lago. He endorses him, and then he wins in Ohio 2 years ago.
Well, I actually had a chance to speak with RFK for briefly. He visited Charleston and came and spoke and he went around the room, talked with some people. Obviously couldn't spend a ton of time with him, but he said, I forgot how many you had to win to be able to get the nod for, the Democratic side. But he said he knew that he wasn't going to be able to get the nod. Like this deck was stacked against him. Mm-hmm. They didn't like what he was saying. And he was trying to come out with truth about the vaccine and stuff. He was already on their no-fly list, I think.
Yeah.
The get-go. But I think him doing that, coming over to help Trump, and nothing against Vance, but if Trump had picked RFK for that VP spot, that'd have been a hard combo to beat, Bo.
Yeah. I knew it was going to be Mike Pence. Because Pence did not say good things about him.
Right.
we knew Pence wasn't coming back, which is good. I think people wanted to see a fresh face. I like Vance. I like a lot of stuff that he stands for. Of course, you don't agree 100% with anybody.
Right.
But at least he's a veteran about the border. He's pro-life, right? And he's about your Second Amendment rights, which is so important. And I think everybody wants to have their gun rights and be able to protect themselves and their family and everything. There's so many places they demonize the weapon. and it's not the weapon. And we see the active shooters, the mass shooters, just like this kid Crooks. It's what's between the ears. And a lot of these guys have mental health issues.
And a lot of it's the people. And, you can't help but just to point out the fact that a lot of these people are coming from the borders that are wide open right now. And they're letting people come in. I mean, these people are running over hotels in New York that are like $400 and $500 hotels. If I got to go stay in it, if you got to go stay in it, you're going to pay. But these people that are running across the border are staying on these hotels.
Eric Adams is a horrible former NYPD. Now he's the mayor of New York City. De Blasio is another one. They had, just real bad. And same with the governor before that, Cuomo. He was awful. So that's just a bad combination. When you have it's a great escape. Why do so many New Yorkers leave? It's frustrating. They want to come to Florida. They want to get away from the high taxes. People need to work. And when you have over-regulate, over-taxation, we're talking about California, it ruins the state. And people say corporations, just like Tesla, they're leaving now X. Well, he left California, Tesla, and now also going to take X, which is Twitter, to also Texas.
Good.
The headquarters. Sure. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Why you pay all this extra taxes? And then they came up with this whole thing. They wanted to, hey, if you're going to leave, we may tax you some more. No, of course not. You can't do that. Your state's horrible. Failed policies. Why we have red and blue states? Well, the failed policies of the blue. These ultra socialist leftists like that. No, you can keep it. People don't want to live like that. It's not a future for them for sure.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, man. And I'll say that I think this is going to be one of the more interesting and important presidential races as a long time. I'm not here to sway anybody's vote. These are my opinions. I know who I'm voting for. I'm pretty sure I know who Ignacio's.
Yeah, I'm not voting for Harris.
but I mean, I just think it's really important. The more important thing, my message is just vote. If you're a Kamala fan, you're going to vote for her. You don't have to. You can stay home that day. It'll be okay.
This is the thing. Democrats are going to vote Democrat and Republican will Republican. So it's going to come down now to pretty much a handful of states. Now, I think looking at how frustrated they are in Nevada and Arizona, Trump lost those two, but because of the border crisis, I think they're going to go bright red. So he gains those two because they're very angry and frustrated how bad things are because of the open policy of the border. So then you shift over. Virginia, where I live, Youngkin has been a very popular governor. He won the year after Biden won, and he's gained a lot of people. That's why Trump comes here so much in Richmond, because he feels that if he can take Virginia and then he takes Michigan, it's over. It's over. It's over for them. So he may be able to take Pennsylvania. What happened in Butler, how frustrated they are with Biden, what's going on there. There's a lot of factors that could lead to Trump going away. So Electoral College, I think he'll have enough if he goes that route, as long as he stays on point, on message, and don't go off on a tangent. Now, what's the October surprise? History repeats itself. It's always an October or November surprise, right?
Yeah.
Is there going to be another secret indictment? Is there going to be another assassination attempt? Or because of the open border, are we going to have a terrorist attack?
You're right. There is always something in October that kind of sways. If I'm not mistaken, I think they waited till around October to release that video the first time about, him in the locker room, grab him by the, what I'm talking about.
In the bus there with Bush, right? What was his name? The commentator?
Oh, shit. I forgot his name.
Yeah. And he went to Good Morning America and he got fired.
Yeah.
He got fired. Yeah. He was one of those shows. I don't think it was Entertainment Tonight, but something similar to that. And he was interviewing Trump on the bus, and that was years behind. And then they leaked that now. It's like, it's just, and he said, listen, I wasn't proud of that. I have, daughters, granddaughters, and all that. Obviously, people sometimes talk like that with people, but it's they try to use whatever they can to sway votes.
Yeah, that's what it is. And hopefully we just have a fair election. That's the biggest thing is having a fair election. And I think it's hard for people to fathom. I seen something the other day where Kamala was saying, we're going to do $25,000, bonus for first time home buyers. That's great. If only shit hadn't went up, 5 times the amount. So you're still 75,000 in the hole. Thanks for the 25. We're still 50 below from where we should be because of the prices and everything that's went up.
Inflation's out of control. No doubt. Inflation's out of control.
Crazy.
Out of control.
Yeah.
And then you look somebody and where's all this money coming from? So, and we have I think $36 trillion debt.
Yeah.
And this administration will not help bring that down. So that's something we have to focus on to trim down the national debt, right? Have a balanced budget. We all live in a balanced budget. The government needs to have a balanced budget. And those are things. I'm more of a fiscal hawk. I like to, because if not, it's just going to get out of control. We have to rein some of this waste, fraud, and abuse. And I saw it firsthand, being with Customs and ATF and other agencies. There's a lot of waste, fraud, and abuse, and we have to get a better handle of that kind of. It's our tax dollars,
yeah,
and that's our money, and I hate to see it being wasted. I hate to see it being wasted.
Me too, man. It was listen, it was good to have you back on.
Thank you, man.
What is some of your latest books, and what's some of the ones that we can look forward to in the future? And as always, we'll put a link for them down here so people can go check it out.
Yeah, man. I have a lot of political books. I have the most dangerous crime syndicates of our time. That's on Audible. I also have a few books on Audible. ATF Undercover is on Audible, and so is the most dangerous crime syndicates of our time is on Audible. All my books are free. If you're a Kindle Unlimited subscriber, go to Amazon, Ignacio Esteban, and check me out on Medium. Medium, great platform. I know I mentioned earlier, a lot of cool articles. Follow me on Medium. Follow me my YouTube page. I have a channel. I have about 40, 50 views. I do a lot of politics in there also, a little bit of everything. And if you want to subscribe to that also, and I'm trying to do all different projects. I do a weekly show with William Steele. You know that. You were out there with him right for a premiere. How did that go?
It went good, man. It was fun. We were in Boca at the Wick Theater Museum, it was a very cool little spot, very cool venue.
Nice.
Stereo DiPaggio's film Silent Partners, so it went over well. There was a lot of the cast there.
Okay.
Crew, just people that was throwing support, entrepreneurs, other podcasters. It was a great time. I went to the one he had for the Mob King around a little over a year ago at the Day or Night Club. And, if that man don't do movies anymore, he can just go into, being a party planner or something.
I think did he run a nightclub in South Beach years ago?
He did. He had a little experience in the nightclub business. He's done quite a lot. So he's, I don't really know how to put into words exactly like what he's been able to accomplish since he's been out of prison, but it's been outstanding. With an idea, goes into a show that he shot like many episodes for, go to Spain, about to do a TV series, gets sick, almost dies, was very close to death.
In Spain?
Yeah, he was over in Spain about to film it. He got,
oh my gosh.
I don't want to say diverticulitis. That's what my wife had, but whatever it was serious. He almost died. And if you just seen pictures of him over there when he was sick, like he's a pretty big, he's in good shape.
Right.
He looked, I don't want to say my size. I'm not in great shape either, but he looked skin and bones, and it was bad. And so, but the fame of the show kind of grew. So then it was like, why do I need to do a series? We can just do a standalone movie. So that's how the movie got made. And then now Silent Partners, and he's got some other stuff working with some other projects. So it was a good time to go out there and hang out. I got hung out with William Steele, met his wife, a couple of guys that we've had on the show, Lou Balistreri, former NYPD cop. So just, Nick Christopher's Mobtail.
I've done a few shows with Louis B also. And,
great guy, Lou. I love him to death.
Yes, yeah, good guy. Talking about real quick on Spain, I did a trip, in late June to early July. And if you ever had a chance to go to Spain, 100%. I've been there a few times. I took my wife there for the honeymoon. First time my daughters, I took them to Europe. We went to, so I have, family that came from Spain and from Spain to Cuba. So I speak Spanish. It's cheaper than on the French Riviera and you go to the Mediterranean. I had the Andalusia region, absolutely gorgeous. Go to Malaga, Marbella, you had Mijas, went to Gibraltar. Just a beautiful area. Then went to Barcelona, spent a beautiful time in Barcelona. I have a chance to go to Barcelona, a beautiful city on the water also, right close to the Mediterranean. And then right before the Olympics, we took the train from Barcelona all through southern France to Paris and enjoyed just before the Olympics. I'm glad we get out before the Olympics because, they sabotaged some of the rails out there. So we would have been stranded if we were still there. But, man, if you have a chance to go out there and enjoy that stuff, absolutely do it. Go ahead.
Absolutely. Well, it sounds like I hope that's on my bucket list. There in Italy is two places I really do.
That's where we're going next summer. I've been there before, but I want to take them to see the Colosseum, the Vatican. I wanted them to see Venice. That's why I proposed to my wife in Venice during during the carnival they have out there in February. The famous Venetian fog, and everybody is in their masks and costumes. Very cool. Woody Allen has a beautiful home out there, by the way. Check it out. Yeah. And one quick thing, I'm also a community activist. right? I'm also involved in other things. And one of the things that's going on in my community out here, you know what Buc-ee's is?
Yeah, I got one. Well, it's not here. It's in Florence. More
Florence, right?
where I grew up. Yeah.
We have a ton in Florida. I've been to St. Augustine, and I've been to one.
I was at the St. Augustine one about a month ago. I went up there for a wrestling event, and they had one right outside the hotel where I was at.
St. Augustine and also Daytona Beach. Daytona, they have one out there also. And they're going to build like the biggest Buc-ee's in Ocala, area right there. So they get bigger and bigger, but that's for areas where a little bit more remote, not up against a very affluent community that we live in out here. And they want to build, they want 120 gas pumps, a Walmart-sized convenience store, 800 plus parking spots. It'll be like having 24/7. We'll have that awful beaver. You know, I don't mind the beaver, but not in my backyard 24/7. And so I wrote back in the cartoonish bucktooth beaver. and this has become an international story. So we're standing up to his multi-billion-dollar, Applin III, which is his name. His name is the Beaver. They call him the Beaver. His nickname is Applin III, Arch Applin III, and he's worth like $3 or $4 billion. I mean, this thing has expanded enormously all over the country. He wants to go all over the country with this, but it just doesn't fit here. It's too large. They have to have rezoning. We've been fighting the Board of Supervisors, and if you look it up, Stafford residents stand up to Buc-ee's coming in. It's got picked up. I wrote a major petition back in March that has almost over 1,500 signatures. So if you go to change.org, look up my name, Ignacio Esteban, or Stop Buc-ee's from Coming to Stafford, Virginia, you'll see how many people this is a very, very, it's not a place for it. I mean, you're going to bring in a lot of issues with crime. We're off 95. 95 is the Iron Highway.
Is there another interstate right there?
Hmm?
Is there another interstate that runs on it? Typically, what I heard is they like to put them close to where interstates kind of intersect between
not there.
In Florida, 26 and 95 is pretty close. To try to get double the traffic, you know what I'm saying?
No, this is pure 95. It would be a nightmare. The numbers would be like 40,000 a day. It's like having a ball game 24/7, 365 with the lights all the time. You have environmental issues, you have crime issues. There's everything here. So and they're not zoned properly for it. So I've been getting involved in this with our community, our HOAs in the area, and we're trying to stop Buc-ee's, and it's not a good fit. So I'm trying to always get a lot of attention to this. The buck stops. That's our motto. The buck stops here. No Buc-ee's in Stafford.
Well, I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you,
I'm not like you. I love Buc-ee's. I would go there and get some of those.
I do. I love Buc-ee's, but not in my backyard.
Yeah, I was about to say, I don't know if I want it in my backyard. I want to be at where I want to drive, 30 minutes away if I want to go and then come back. I don't know if I want one in my backyard. So
you know what they call us now, the media? NIMBYs. NIMBYs. Not in my backyard, people. We're NIMBYs now all over the. So Yahoo News picked up on this, my petition, everything else. Yahoo News has 200 million unique clicks a month. Wow. And they picked up on the story because the local media is running this big time because they like friction. This guy's a billionaire. So they picked up on this. Check this up. You'll see my petition out there being interviewed and talking and all that. But now community activists, can we stop Buc-ee's? That's going to be a big thing. And this would be the farthest north Buc-ee's in the country. They can pull it off, and we're sticking it to them. You know where they should go then? Go to Virginia Tech and Lynchburg. They want that over there. Here's another interesting angle real quick. So he's a Texas billionaire. He is a big contributor to the governor in Texas. He's been contributing a lot of money to Youngkin. So what's a Texas billionaire contributing to his PAC in Virginia? Well, he's been doing it because he's already had 2 approved. He's been pushing a lot of the board of supervisors to support this initiative. So we've been going to war. So it's very interesting, the politics going on right here. So I'll keep you posted.
Yeah, keep me posted. Let me know how it turns out. Everybody go check out Ignacio's page on Amazon. We'll put a link to it down there in the show notes. We hope you enjoyed this episode. I guess at the end of the day, folks, we just want what's best for America. That's all I want. If your opinion differs, so be it. You're still welcome around here. We don't care what political party you decide, as long as you just subscribe to Crime and Entertainment. Go check out Ignacio's books on Amazon. Ignacio, we appreciate it, my friend.
Thank you, brother.